Hi guys, Kelade here. With how close we are to patch 7.1.5, let's take a look at the Fury Warrior changes that are slated to come with the patch. Right away, you can see that we're getting a 5% damage buff to all of our skills. Even though Raging Blow is not on the list, it is getting buff on the PTR. And unfortunately, our auto attacks are not on here, so we might not be getting a full 5% buff. I'll go through all the talent changes really quick and I will go into the sims of all the different variations. Dragon Roar, unfortunately, was our go-to bread and butter talent that we took. Unfortunately, it's getting nerfed by 4%. Fresh Meat is increasing it from 40% to 60%. It's still not going to be used. It's a pretty shitty talent. Frothing Berserker, it is getting buffed by 5% increased damage. And there is a case now to be made for Reckless Abandon slash Frothing Berserker if there is a short execute phase. Outburst is most likely still not going to be used. The cooldown reduction is nice, but our enrage uptime is going to be so good already that it's not really necessary. Reckless Abandon, this might become our go-to talent instead of Dragon Roar, since now it'll make Battle Cry last 2 seconds longer. In addition to the Dragon Roar nerf that we touched on earlier, Reckless Abandon might be the best talent. Unfortunately, our CC that we take for Mythic Plus is getting nerfed from 4 seconds to 3 seconds, which is a pretty devastating nerf. Essentially, it's a 25% stun duration nerf. It was a really, really good CC during Mythic Plus. War Machine is getting buffed from 10 seconds to 15 seconds. This is pretty big. It's very likely that War Machine will be our go-to talent for Mythic Plus, and if there's any fight with prolonged ads that are constantly spawning and constantly dying. Wrecking Ball is getting increased from 200% increased damage to 250% increased damage. It is very likely that in Mythic Plus, you're just going to take War Machine and Wrecking Ball and just be an AoE god. Unfortunately, Fury Warrior PvP will still be really bad in the new patch. The only thing that they're changing is Death Wish, and we need a lot more help than just this. Before we look into the legendary changes, let's look at the three different builds that you can kind of do for single target DPS and raids, right? So you have on the left, Dragon Roar with Massacre, in the middle, Reckless Abandon and Massacre, on the right, Reckless Abandon and Frothing Berserker. On the bottom there, you have the different sims for the different length of fights. For a 5-minute fight, it looks like Reckless Abandon and Massacre is the strongest option. For a 3-minute fight, it looks like Reckless Abandon and Frothing Berserker is the strongest option. Now this is pretty intuitive, right? The shorter the fight, the less execute phase that you have, and the less execute phase you have, the lower value Massacre gives. One caveat, however, is that Dragon Roar on the nightly sims are not simming correctly. It uses Dragon Roar the same time as Battlecry and Avatar, which wastes the global cooldown. So I've taken it upon myself to kind of create my own APL for Dragon Roar. So now on the left hand side, you'll see the updated simulation craft numbers with the APL that I've created today. So it looks like Dragon Roar and Massacre might still be the go-to combo. Both for a 3-minute fight and a 5-minute fight, the DPS is much higher than Reckless Abandon still. I'll place a link to my APL down in the description below. Feel free to play around with it and see if for you, if Dragon Roar and Massacre will be better than Reckless Abandon and Frothing. Alright, let's move on to the legendary changes. Unfortunately, our Execute Ring was nerfed from 3 procs per minute to 1.8. Our Helm was nerfed very slightly from 10 rage whenever you rage to 8 rage. And our Cloak was nerfed so it can only stack up to 4 times instead of 5. Since all 3 of our DPS legendaries all got nerfed at the same time, the list remains pretty much the same. It's still going to be Ring and Helm at the top, and Cloak at a distant third. The one difference here is now with the buff to Cephas being able to be proc when you interrupt and the increased haste buff that you get from it, Cephas could be one of our better legendaries for Mythic Plus. A new legendary that we're going to get in the patch is our Heroic Leap Shoulders that'll give us 2 additional charges. It's pretty useful in World PvP, but that's about it. Another legendary that we'll have in the new patch is Kil'jaeden's Burning Wish that's shared with all DPS classes. It used to do a lot of damage on PTR, bursting for over 3 million, but now it's not affected by any of our buffs, so right now it does very little damage, and it's pretty much only an AoE patch trinket. And with the current state of Convergence of Fate and Drought of Souls, those 2 trinkets are going to be much better than Kil'jaeden's Burning Wish. So unless your goal is to pad the AoE meters, Kil'jaeden Burning Wish will not be better than the Helm or the Ring, for example. Depending on what talents become our cookie cutter build, our rotation during our burst window might change slightly. And if that changes, then our haste buff breakpoint might also change, so stay tuned for my updated 7.1.5 guide once I get my tier pieces, and we'll go more into what your ideal rotation and setup should be in patch 7.1.5. And that's it for any significant changes that are coming to Fury Warriors in patch 7.1.5. Thanks for watching the video, guys, and be sure to hit that like button if you're looking forward to patch 7.1.5. Until next time, see ya!